One of my favorite things to do during the Halloween season is this kind of like slimy lettering. You can use this in different ways. You can turn it into like icicles, shit like that. But for today, I'm going to give a quick tutorial on how to turn a word into this slimy masterpiece. And you can use this for a dashboard, you could use this for a cover, whatever you want to do. What you need for this tutorial to do this is, you gotta pick a word. I did my name. You don't have to do your name. You can do whatever the hell you want, but I did my name. I used a pencil and an eraser. It's my gigante. Size does matter. You need a felt tip marker to outline, and then for the coloring in, I used alcohol-based markers. I used for the main color this Spectrum Noir marker, which are cheaper than Copics, but they don't have brush tips. The color I used was CG, like Cindy Guentert, good times, CG3. And then I used a Copic, this Copic Chow. The color is YG06. I don't know what the actual name of it's yellowish green. That is specific. And then for the outlining, I'm using Copic Chow BV02, which is prune. Yellowish green and prune. This could also be poop. Not because it's the colors of poop, but because the names are making me think of poop. Did not know that until I started. And then I'm just using a piece of blank cardstock. So your first step is to pencil in your letters. Now, if you're already epic at doing bubble lettering, you've done my bubble lettering tutorial, which I'll have linked above, then you don't need to do this first step. But if you're not figuring the bubble lettering thing out, then I'm going to just show you a quick way to get it done. So I'm going to do my name again. So I'm going to write, like, just lightly pencil in. Can you even see that with this light? The letters of my name. Now I'm angling them slightly, and I'm leaving some extra space in between them, just a little bit, not tons, but a little, to leave room for, going way off the page here, for the tracing, right? So there's my name. Now, if you're doing this for like a dashboard or something, cut it to size first. And part of the reason you're doing this pencil in step is so you know whether or not it's going to be the right size, or if you accidentally are like writing off the edge of your page like I just did. To do the bubble lettering step, you see these, like, consider these to be the skeleton of your letters. So I'm going to take a spot and I'm going to trace around it. And the key here is to keep consistent spacing on either side of this thing. So I'm going to bring this up so you can see a little bit better. See how I traced around the C, and the space that I left around the actual line of the C is pretty consistent all the way around. Okay? So then you just need to go and trace all of your letters. Notice with my D that I wasn't very consistent here, but I feel like I left the same total amount of space between this line and this line. It's just how I wrote them out. Some bullshit right there. I screwed up my own tutorial. And if they kind of touch, that's okay. No big deal. I'll show you how to handle that when we do this. So you have your letters written out. Now to do the slimy part, all you need to do is start like C. Okay, we'll start with this C here. You're following the curve of the C. As you hit the bottom, imagine you've got just like drips of like boogery boogers. And then you just bring them up to the very edge there. With this part of the C, I might add a little bit of boogers. But you see, you're just adding squiggly lines to indicate dripping. So the important thing is to follow the lines of the letter as they're going down. And that'll get you into the right spot. And then when you go up, follow the line going back up. I'm not going to do too much inside the D hole, which sounds really inappropriate, because it'll stop being legible the more you add. So you see how I've added the drips at the bottom? Yeah, okay. So you've got your penciled in work. So take your felt tip pen and trace around each letter, but rather than follow that inner line, when you get to the squiggles, just follow those. That's how you get one of those spooky looking letters. Remember to skip the lines where the squiggles are and just follow the squiggles. See, I'm gonna skip this whole part right here where they touched. I'm just gonna into these like little crevasses that were created. I'm gonna go into there and then go out, and I'm not gonna go all the way and define either letter through that place where they touched. I think for this style with the squiggly, snotty, drippy drip at the bottom, I feel like that looks better. And this is where the eraser comes in. Make sure, give it a second, make sure it's dry. That's why I like using the flares. They don't take very long to dry. Then take your eraser and erase all the pencil marks. This is just reminding me that I need to sweep eraser shavings all over my floor, because that's how I live my life. Okay, once you're relatively erased, this is where the fun part comes in. You color. So the way I did this is I'm just taking the chisel tip end, because I am not a master colorer. And if you are a master colorer with like stamps, with the alcohol markers, it's always good to have a like protection layer underneath, because now if you were not as sloppy as me, you could use the other tip of these Spectrum Noirs to do the details. Maybe I'll do that right now. For the sake of all of you, I'm not being a sloppy asshole at the moment. And I should add, ew, sloppy asshole, it's terrible. I need to stop. So yeah, just go ahead, fill your hole, God, I'm in an innuendo place right now. Whatever colors you're using, whether it's green or blue or purple or whatever the hell you're doing for your filling in letters, pick one that's like kind of fluorescent-y and bright, and then pick one that is slightly darker, not very much darker at all. Like you can see in here in the greens. This green and this green, not that far apart from each other. And I just hit my soda can, my La Croix, which is my jam. Comment if you love La Croix, which flavor you have, because I'm loving apricot. But that was a total tangent. I'm gonna pick one that's like a very similar color so that you can add that shading in and not have it look like two completely different piles of color just being slopped in. I'm just gonna fill these in. That just seems like a good time to time lapse. All colored in. Now notice it is a little bled out. It's not because it's bleeding on the paper. It's because I am sloppy as shit today. Probably because I'm getting high on the fumes. So then take your next color and take all the way from the bottom of the snotty snot. I'm using the brush tip because it's a little easier to get in the crevasse, and I don't want to be any more sloppy than I already am. And then what I'm doing is I'm just flicking out in kind of a like irregular motion. I want to make sure it's colored in down here, but then kind of flicking outward and upwards. Okay, that's my plan, Stan. And then to blend it, I'm taking the skinny tip of the Spectrum Noir and then just coloring in the same kind of like flicking motion over the top of it to blend it out. So I'm gonna do that at everywhere that the slime drips. So like here, whoops, missed again. As you can see, totally just loosen it. Whoops, don't do that either. Oh my goodness, this is like, it's not even like I could do like a bloopers reel. The whole video is a bloopers reel. Okay. So I'm not really having any rhyme or reason to this. I'm just sort of flicking it out. I'm sure you could consider doing like a pattern or something if you cared more, but I don't. It's seasonal. It's not going to be up very long. So yeah, so just continue flicking and then blending and flicking and blending and flicking and blending until you're all the way finished. Then the last step, once you are done, to give it a little bit more definition, is to go around the edges with another color. I picked purple because I think purple and green together makes a really cool Halloween-y looking, I said wiener, Halloween effect. I really like the color combination of purple and green anyway, but I think like purple and green to me represents a lot of like that slimy, I don't know why. I'm sure that there's a reason why, and I'm just not remembering because high on fumes and high on whatever else seems to be going on in my world. But yeah, it's just go around, kind of follow the curves. You can be a little bit broader with your strokes. Yeah, whoops. Noticing that I'm doing shit like going inside the lines because I swear, when I did this one, I was much neater. And then when you get to the point where like the purple cut like overlaps, that's fine. Let it all come together. Like here, you're not going to have two big fat purple lines because they're so close to each other. So just let those become like one. Like imagine that this whole purple situation is like one big blob that's connecting everything. Okay? And that way it'll have like a nice connected, the word will look like one piece, not just individual letters. I try and stay away from harsh kind of corners as much as I can when I'm doing this. That's how you do the spooky Halloween lettering for your name or whatever. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for other seasonal lettering styles that you'd like to see sometime in the next month or two, give me a holler in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you next time.